What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today we're doing another regionals recap. And what's your name, sir?
I'm Andrew Mahone.
And as you see, we can see his Yveltal Garbodor deck that he used to make second place at Fort Wayne. So first off, congratulations, sir. That's fantastic.
Thanks, Squeaky. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And I guess the first question is, why did you decide to play this deck?
Man, yeah, that's a good question because I don't play Yveltal decks. I haven't really ever played one. Last time I actually played a Yveltal deck was in States, like right after it came out in like 2014 or something. and, uh, and Jimmy Pendarvis actually shoved a list, in my lap and was like, "You need to play this. It's like the best card in format." And I tried it, and I was horrible, and I like lost every mirror, and I didn't know what to do with my hands, and I was just like, "This isn't Raybor, which is the deck I was used to playing at the time." And since I like didn't touch the card since then, so yeah, I've been a little intimidated to jump on the Yveltal train, but when I started testing for standard, I quickly realized it's the only deck that can defy like the rock paper scissors nature of standard format. Like every deck seemed to have like some pretty bad auto losses or some things it really didn't want to see, and Yveltal could just be versatile and hang with every deck. And I felt like there was also like a pretty high skill ceiling to it. So like the better you were with it, the better off you were going to do. It wasn't just like a matter of like, well, I hit some crappy matchups, so like I did good. I felt like I could play my way through it. So we started on Scizor. We were like definitely going to play Scizor, like me in my room, and we were like out looking for Scizors like everywhere, like trying to get like we were like we need 4 play sets of Scizors. Is anybody like our whole squad was going to play Scizor because that's the deck I'd been testing up until regionals like the most, and then we decided the Scizor was like horrible because it was actually losing to Mega Ray, which is like a matchup on paper that we were like it should win, and it wasn't just because Scizor is a bad deck. So like so then we were like, oh my god, we need to play Mega Ray. So then we're looking for Mega Rays, um, and but then Mega Ray we realized is still bad for all the reasons that Mega Ray is bad, just because it loses to anyone with a Giratina in their deck or anything like that. And every regional I've been to in the last couple of years, I play against somebody with a Giratina in their deck, like at least a couple of them, because people just love Giratina for some reason. So then like Yveltal was the deck that has been like my litmus test. Like I've been testing against myself lately. That's just what I had the decks built, and I've just been solitaire mode, just like on my desk, testing against myself. And like I was always playing against Yveltal first when I was like trying to figure out what deck to play, because I just considered it to be the best deck in format. But I was like, it's not for me, but it's definitely the best deck. But I'm not, I'm not gonna play it though. So then like at like midnight the night before the tournament, me and the guys in the room, we just didn't know what to do, and I was just like, dude, we're playing Yveltal. We won't feel bad about ourselves. I guarantee it. Like we'll at least have like a decent day. And you can't be upset with yourself when you pick like the best deck in format. It won a regionals already. It dominated Europe, but people are still sleeping on it for God knows why. I don't know. So like we're just gonna play this stuff and show up with it, and it worked out. So that was sweet.
Yeah. All right. So day one, what decks did you play against, and how'd it go?
Here, let me grab my phone real quick. Day one started because I took notes on my matchups, but day one started off horribly. I started off playing against
Oh yeah.
I started off playing against a Volcanion deck, and I consider that to be like a pretty good matchup. Like Volcanion, no problem, get out Garbodor, whatever. Like, and I routed the dude in game one, and then game two, like I'm going to set up, and I Ultra Ball and prize both my Shamans, right? And I'm like, I am not going for a tie. Like I'm going for a win here. Like I'm not starting my day off with a tie. Screw that. So like I scoop, and we're gonna go to game three, like right away. Like I'm prized by Shaman. Like I'm not sitting here just gonna pass while you just route me here. So scoop and go to game three, and I open a supportless hand and just pass and lose.
So maybe the tie would have been better.
So right, so that was horrible. I don't think there's any way I could have drawn this out to tie though. With the way with the way that went, that was horrible. So then I played against a Gyarados round two, and it was pretty easy. It just dude didn't set up. I don't think he played a Shame in his deck. Played some Octilleries instead. Like it wasn't bad. He never really got going. I don't think he used Gyarados attack once. I play 3 Parallel City. That was really good. I was constantly countering his stadium. So he was like missing his stadium when he needed it for Magikarps and stuff. And then I actually this was the only matchup that I think like the Oblivion Wing Yveltal was like really useful because I was just like poking Magikarps with that,
Just
like
hitting the magic 30 number.
exactly, just
Yeah.
hit and I could like Lysander one and poke it and kill it, without leaving a Yveltal active. I played against a Yveltal Garb after that, which 2-0 that went well. I actually was 3-0 in Yveltal Mirrors before I ended up playing Jimmy in the finals. So my the mirrors were going good. Then I played against Mega Gardevoir, and I won. I played against Greninja, which was really sketchy. Actually, he played the shower, the promo one,
Hmm.
the promo Greninja, and again I opened a supportless hand with the Trubbish game one, going first, right? So I just like opened Trubbish and pass, and then this dude played one Talonflame, and he starts it right, and just he just played one Talonflame. He ended up like top 16ing or something, or like top 32. But he played one Talonflame, starts it, and just like hits me right for 40. So then I'm just like on the clock, and I'm like, all right, what's up? Nothing. So we like immediately scoop. Like people are still setting up their cards, and we're going to game two. I go first. Like we got to make it work here. And I route him game two, but game three gets like really hairy because I start a Fright Night Yveltal, and then and when you're playing Yveltal Garb, it's like really weird trying to get Fright Night Yveltal out of the active if you can't get Garb online because you like have to get your Olympia or you have to retreat it with a DCE. Because if you can't get Garb online, so like I end up setting up 2 Garbodors and I have like multiple Yveltal EX like built up, but I still I can't find my Floatstone for my Garbodor, and I can't find I can't find my Olympia for the active. So like I haven't taken a prize yet, and it's like turn 3, and he is like getting Greninjas out, like they are happening. It's like there is nothing stopping them, and I am like this is gonna get ugly really fast. So then he comes up and he showers everything, right? And I'm like, all right, that's fine. Like I got one more turn before those turn into breaks and things get really bad. So like I Sycamore, and it's still no DC, and it's still no Floatstones. Still no Floatstones. I have both my Garbodors out, no Floatstones. And I'm like, okay, this is horrible. So then I have to pass again, and he Lysanders my Garbodor, right? And then he snipes my other Garbodor for 60, right? And knocks out my other Garbodor. And this is the first prize of game 3 taken. I'm like, oh my god, this is going this is going horrible.
This is going great, guys. I love Pokemon.
So he took the first prize he took on a Garbodor, and then while also putting my other Garbodor to 20 hit points remaining. And so like I'm like, all right, finally I get to attack, and I bring out my Yveltal, and I smash his dude. But at this point, it's like all he has to do is do 20. I'm able to knock out the shower one. So then like the rest of the game is him just trying to like super rod that in and get my Garbodor out, and I actually am able to do some crafty plays where I like Olympia my Garbodor to like save it from the shower. So like I Olympia Garbodor a couple times. I finally get the tool, just in time, like the next turn, and like save myself. And it comes down to like 1-to-1 prizes, and it's like times being called, and I win if I end him and it sticks, I win. And if he gets Lysander off the end, he wins because he only has 1 prize left, and he's just knock out my Garbodor, and he whips it, and I win. So thank God. That was like the most stressful series of day 1 easily. After that, I played another Mega Gardevoir and won. Then I played another Mega Gardevoir and lost. And then I'm playing. I play Alex Hill. No, wait, that's later. I don't play Alex. Yeah, no, I do. I play Alex Hill on day 1.
Yeah, you do play Excel day 1. Yeah.
I played Alex Hill's Greninja, and it was like the last two matches, and I played against his Greninja, and Alex's Greninja doesn't play the shower thing, right? Yeah. But ends up in Alex Hill's matchup, it actually informs my top 4 matchup because he and Chris DeRozier are playing the same list, and I know they're playing the 4 Splash Energy, and I know they're not playing any of the shower Greninja. So like my Garbodor is just like not an option. and I know that he plays a Jirachi, and that's like basically what it is I'm mowing down Greninjas, trying to take minimal damage from bursting balloons, and just doing it that way. And I route him game one, and so like we're playing a long game two, which I think I'm just gonna win, and it's gonna be fine. But things get like really weird with like Jirachi, and at the end of the game, like I end up having a turn where he ends me, and I like deck myself. Like, and I like Sycamore, and I have like one card left in hand, and like I can't, and I have no ends left in deck, and it was just a long game, and I thought I had it, and it just, and we got 10 minutes left in the round, and we talked beforehand, and we were like, we're not going to tie this round, right? And then all of a sudden we have 10 minutes to play a game three. Yveltal Garbodor, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm like, we're like shuffling up, and I'm like, all right, dude, like, prizes, right? Whoever has prizes is like gonna win. And he's like, well, I mean, I'm not gonna take any prizes, so it has to go to like board positioning. And I'm like, all right, dude, we'll see. So like we start going, and we're just like slinging things around, like nobody's shuffling. We're just like, let's go, no cutting, making like questionable plays and just like everything. But I end up getting like a crazy, like he ends me to 3, and I get like a Lysander on his Jirachi that he benched, and then and it ends up time is called, and I have 2 prizes to his 4, and I'm getting ready to take another prize, and I'm like looking at him like, dude, like you don't see there's no way you're gonna win this game. I have like a huge undamaged Yveltal EX on my bench, like I just Lysandered your Jirachi. And he's like, I don't know, we'll see. Then like he ends on his last turn and like doesn't get his Jirachi. He's like, maybe if I could super out my Jirachi and get it back out, like then we'd have a conversation. But he couldn't do it, so he's like, all right, you can have it. So that was cool. But then I started crapping my pants because I played a Vileplume toolbox deck, and like my winning in to cut at this point I lost 2. So I'm playing a Vileplume toolbox, and I'm like, all right, great. I like marched all the way back from round 1 loss, and now I got to play like some Jolteons, which I have no answer to. Fantastic. This dude, he didn't get Vileplume out once, man. He didn't get Vileplume out on turn 1 at all. I mean, it was like turn 4 Vileplumes. I don't think he didn't flash ray once in 2 games, and I just took it. I was like, it's fine, man.
Sorry, kid.
An Oddish, like 3 Shamans on his bench, and a Mew, and a Lugia active, and I was like, you don't have room for Jolteon, man. I don't know what you're doing.
You better start Ninja Boy in here.
So, yeah, that was fine. But yeah, so that was day 1. I was very lucky. When I got in at 7-2.
7-2. All right. So going into the next day, like that night, how are you feeling? Are you confident? Are you nervous?
Oh, I'm stoked. I hadn't ever topped a fall regional, ever. So I was just like, man, we did it. All right, I'm up here. This is fine. Last time I topped a regional, it was playing Night March. Like I only topped 1 regional last year. I got my whole invite, built it off of states performances and cities finishes. So, I was feeling stoked. I was excited, and I felt like I really understood standard format, and I played like a lot of good close series that like really came down to the wire, and it was like forcing me to think differently than I ever had before. So I was feeling good about it. Okay. And I went and hung out with like Travis and Eric and some of those guys, and had a good time. So.
All right. So day 2, you have to go 3 wins, 1 tie, or something like that.
Yep. Got to go 3-1-1. Yeah.
All right. So how did day 2 go?
Day 2 started off horribly.
A trend.
I also started with a round 1 loss on day 2. I played against Jeremiah Williams with his Vileplume toolbox, and that was horrible. So he's a very good player, and I actually had kind of just met him recently and hadn't really ever talked to him, but he's a really smart guy, really good player, cool dude. So like we're playing, and I'm like trying to think like how am I gonna get around it? He starts like a Lugia or some sort of EX or something, right? And I'm like cycloning it and a Sycamore, and I have a hand. I don't get Garbodor up. Neither game. He's got Beedrill on the deck. It doesn't matter. Like he's got Beedrill. Like the Garbodor play is not happening.
Yeah.
So I have a turn where like I Sycamore, and like I could Cyclone his active EX to like knock it out, but then he already has 1 energy on Jolteon. So I'm like, I'm gonna pass instead of knocking out your dude, because I'm just gonna invite Jolteon right up, and then like I pass, and he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm not just gonna invite your Jolteon up to party. Like, he's gotta wait.
He's gonna kill my mood.
And then he's like, oh well, all my opponents yesterday just just would have done that. I'm like, well, Dial, you're day 2 now. Like, come on now. So that he ends up like attaching a DCE to Jolteon and passing, and then the next turn I Lysander the Jolteon and kill it, because I have cards in my hand to do it. And he's like, so like it ends up being a really weird, close game 1, and I have a play where like I have to Lysander his Vileplume and hope that he doesn't have like Manaphy and energy, and he doesn't, right? So like, I'm in, like I got it, and I have like I have my active a Yveltal, the Fright Night one, right? I'm like, I'm just gonna snipe things and I'm gonna win, and then he Lysanders up like my bench Yveltal EX with no energy on it. That's all he's got. He doesn't have the energy, but he's got a Lysander, so he Lysanders that up, and now we're just sitting here, and neither of us have a supporter in our hand, and we're just passing. So like, pass, no energy, or neither of us have either. So like, I draw pass, he draw pass, and it probably would go back and forth like 15 times. Like it's crazy. Like at a Yveltal EX deck, I can't find a freaking Darkness or DCE or anything. Like win this game. Like I'm gonna defy the odds here and do it. But we were just draw passing, and he eventually draws out to his out before I do and wins game 1, and then game 2 he actually starts flash arraying like he's supposed to and beats me. So that was bad. And then let's see. After that, things got a little easier. I played, let me see if I took pictures or something. I ended up playing against a Vespa Queen deck. That was cool. That worked out because like he actually had a round 1 loss. Like he just had a game loss because of a torn sleeve or something. So I was like, all right, nice. This is exactly what I needed. Like after like suffering a huge loss there. So I play against him and is Darren O'Meara. And I'm just able to stick the stadium with a -20 side to him, and my board position is just like 1 Garbodor and 3 gigantic Yveltal EXs, and just with like Fury Belts. And I had taken 3 prizes before he takes a first knockout, so like there was no way he's going to be able to do it. And I run him out of attackers and just win the 1 game. I played against I played another Yveltal Mirror, which ended up going fine. He just played Azul's List card for card. And the third parallel helps in the Yveltal Mirror a little bit, not as much as if I had been playing like a 4th Max Elixir like Jimmy did, or if I played like a something a little more spicy, like it would have been even better. But the third parallel helps. Again, like being the first one to play parallel is a huge advantage in the Yveltal Mirror. So yeah, and then I forget what my last 2 matchups were. I played against a Rainbow Road. And tied. That was like hairy.
Yeah.
Because I had my 1 loss, and then like I tied 1, and it was against Rainbow Road. Like I won game 1, he won. It's a weird matchup. Like can go either way. Like the game that he won, he stuck parallel. He played his own parallel, went first, and stuck it. So I was like, I can't. My parallel plays are out. But yeah, and I forget what my last win was. It was actually another Yveltal. I think I played 2 Yveltals that day.
Okay.
So.
I did. I left right after you tied with the Rainbow Road.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last time I heard about you.
Yveltal Mirror was my winning in. I had to play Yveltal Mirror. So.
All right. So going to top 8, you see all the decks, and is there any that you do not want to hit?
Jimmy.
Jimmy?
Yeah, Jimmy's on fire, man. Like I don't want to play against Jimmy. So like, yeah. That was who I didn't want to play. So it was fine. I didn't have to play until the finals. Everything else I was cool on though, like Volcanion, cool on that. Greninja, cool on that. I didn't want to play against, like I'd rather not play against the Zygarde guy just because like I haven't tested against it. Like I think like in my head it seemed fine, but I mean like I didn't know. Like does he play tons of hammer? Like it's just weird. Like most people when you're playing against their deck, you can guess 90% of the cards in their list. Like
True.
Against that deck, though, I had no idea what he was doing. So.
Oh man, I think he actually played against Jimmy in top 8 though.
He did. Jimmy won.
Yeah. So. All right, but top 8, what'd you play against, and how'd that go?
So I played against Volcanion in top 8, and I start another supporterless hand. So I go first, and I attach to. Jimmy says that he didn't open a supporter's hand once. Like, oh, dude, it happened to me all the time. And I played 1 more mail than him. Like, I put the 3rd mail in there because I was like, I open dead hands all the time. So I just wanted as many outs as I could. And Yeah, Jimmy was like, nope, never, never did, Drew. So, anyways, I opened a support of this hand, and I'm like, great, this is how I'm gonna go down. Fantastic. Another Volcanion, another decent matchup, and I'm sitting here passing. So, I pass, and then I actually get top deck like Sycamore or something. So we're cool on my second turn, and it didn't really matter that he like hit into me real hard turn one. Like I was able to get a couple Trubbish down and like have a supporter for next turn. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna start turning this game around real quick. And what I did was just like Volcanion can't really deal with a Fright Night Yveltal, with a Fury Belt when I have Garb out. Like they just can't deal with that. Like he has 170 hit points. He's putting 60-60 everywhere on their field. If you've got the little baby Volcanion active, you're hitting him for 20 damage. It's not doing anything. So like that's the situation I set up and just like ran the table. It was fine. Like it didn't even matter that I like sacrificed Yveltal EX real early, who was just up there not really doing anything. Because the Fright Knights came out with their Fury Belts and the Garb came out and it was great. Game two actually gets really sketchy because I misplay and it's really bad and kind of embarrassing. But like I get Garb out and everything's cool, and then he Lysanders it. Okay, so now we're like, things are getting hairy because he Lysandered my Garb. But he had to like Sycamore a couple escape ropes real early and saw that he like discarded some energy retrievals in like inopportune time. So like, all right, he's kind of low on resources. Like I think I can like pull this one out. And he has like fully loaded Volcanion EX on the bench, and I go and I like commit a DC to a huge Yveltal on the active Yveltal EX, and like go to Lysander it. And I like play my Burst Seeker to like Lysander. And he's like, "Oh, did you actually have one in your discard?" And I'm like, "Well, I should. I mean, it's like the game." So I'm like looking, and I actually did it. And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm losing my mind." So I was like, "I guess we're ending, bro." So like I end and like hit into a miniature Volcanion with a gigantic Yveltal, like a way too big Yveltal, irresponsibly large Yveltal EX just to kill a little Volcanion. And I'm like, this is horrible. Like, if he knocks us out with that bench Volcanion, it's over. And he, like, Sycamores, and all he needs is, like, a fire to attach to his Volcanion EX on the bench and, like, 2 heat ups or whatever. Or what's it called?
Steam up.
2 steam ups, right? So he needs 3 fires, these Sycamores, and he, like, doesn't get any. So I don't even have to pay for my misplay, and it's fine, and I route him, and it's not a big deal. So, I lucked out a little bit there. And then in top 4, I play against Greninja, and it's Chris DeRozier, and he's playing the card for card list that Alex was playing. So by that point, like I had a lot of experience with the Greninja matchup. I was very comfortable with it. I was able to get some good Garbodor. I got Garbodor came out. He came out to play. It was good. Sometimes you don't find him. He's just like MIA.
He's sleeping.
So, yeah, game 1 was pretty chill. Like he didn't really play a lot of supporters, and actually didn't play a single bursting blue down game 1. Like it was just kind of like I set up and walked over it. And then game 2 is close because he puts the first damage on the board. It's another one of these weird, just slow. He gets the first real attack off. Like I sky return into a bursting balloon like early, which is actually like a really good play against these decks. Sky return into the bursting balloon. I was able to Oblivion Wing into a bursting balloon once. To make him play a 7 prize game, which ended up mattering because it went down to 1-to-1 prizes. I also in game 2, he had like a full field. Like he had all 4 Frogadiers out. He had and like a couple Froakies, right? So like he brings a Froakie up to bubble or something because he has like a weird play where like I sky return his balloon guy instead of knocking it out, which is what he's anticipating, and his only supporter in hand is an Ace Trainer. So he's like waiting like for me to take a prize so that he can play the Ace Trainer, and I'm just like playing so slow and like passively that he just has to go for a bubble, like I guess, like because he's just waiting to top deck something else. So he like retreats his Frogadier into a Froakie to bubble, and then I like play my Stadium and limit his bench. So I like knock out a Frogadier and a Froakie, right? While also knocking out his active Froakie. So now he's like behind, But I don't even think I not like. Yeah, no, while knocking out the active. So like it's a pain, and he gets behind there, and actually it ends up mattering a lot because he's not able to super rod those guys back in and get them back out. And at the end of the game, he just runs out of attackers, and so like I'm able to win that way. But
there you go. So you go into the finals. It's Jimmy.
Yep.
Like confident, not confident?
At this point, I don't really care. Like I just played a $2,250 money match with Chris. So like I won. I'm in the money. Like I don't care. I'm stoked to be in the like I made it to the finals of regionals with a deck I do not play. So like it was sweet. I spent minimal time with the list. All I knew was I was like 3 parallel cities were really good. Like so that was like my contributions. It's mostly Azul's list, minus the super odd, which Kevin Baxter told me was bad, and he was right. Super odd's horrible. Don't play it. So like you don't need that. Then my addition was the 3rd parallel. I was like, all right, that's going to be my contribution to the list. And Jimmy had like his own homebrewed list with like Delinquent and Pokemon Center Lady and 4 Max Elixir, and I was like, yeah, I'm about to get smashed, bro. Like there's like things just have to go right. So it's going to be a bad day. And of course, things don't go right. He goes first, gets an amazing turn 1 setup with like 2 Fright Knights, both with the darkness energy on them, like turn 1, and I'm just like, oh, okay, this is great. And, so he ends up winning game 1, but it was mainly because of a delinquent play. I had this turn where I end and I'm looking for an energy, and he and I whiff it, so I'm like kind of tilted, like looking at my 4 cards or whatever, and like, all right, I guess I'll attach my Fury Belt to this guy and pass. And then he's like, how many cards in your hand? Oh, 3. Oh, okay, I got you, bro. And I had just forgotten about it. Like, Delinquent's the easiest card in the format to forget about because I don't test against anybody with Delinquent. I wasn't on the ball, I was like, I just wasn't thinking about it. So he got me there, and then game 2, I'm like, all right, we can still do it. Like, pretty confident. The whole time, like, he's making fun of me that I only played 3 Max Elixir. I'm like, all right, I know. Like, I know. All right, your list is better than mine. Like, I'm still gonna do my best. Like, so like, so I open, I opened 2 Max Elixirs and 2 Yveltal EXs. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna start out. We're gonna get this bench Yveltal EX powered up real quick, and if he tries to go Fright Night, I'm just gonna blast him out, before he can really do anything. And then I whiff both Max Elixirs. So, and I'm like, at that point, I have 1 Max Elixir left in deck. It's not going to buff out. I almost whiffed that one, too. It was the 6th card was the end. It was like, this is crazy. I had like 1 soft misplay game 1 versus Jimmy as well, where like I had my 3rd Max Elixir in hand, and I had an N, and I had like 2 energy in hand, like 2 darkness energy in hand. And I should have just end the Max Elixir back in because I had 2 darkness energy in my hand instead of like going for it. But I went for it. And then like as soon as I whiffed that Max Elixir, I was like, I have 2 Max Elixir I have 2 darkness energy in my hand. Should have ended that back in and just like been patient. Like I've been all tournament and just like done it late. But so I was a little tilted in the finals, but it's fine. Like Jimmy was on fire, dude. He was like had not lost a game. I was like, it's Jimmy's tournament to win. I was looking at it as a win-win scenario because Jimmy's my dude. He's a good friend of mine, and I had considered Jimmy to be the best player who had never won a regional. Like he is an amazing player, and he actually like coaches me on decks. Like I mean, especially Yveltal. He was the one who was telling me to play Yveltal 3 years ago. So I was like, all right, dude, it's fitting that you win the regional. I just the whole finals, I was like, man, this dude's regional to win. Like, if I don't win, it don't matter. I'm already in the money. Who cares? So I was just stoked. I was stoked to be there. Yeah.
So, well, congrats, sir. It's amazing.
Did it. Thanks, man. Thanks, Squeaky. Appreciate it.
All right. So, I mean, we've talked a lot about your deck already while you're talking about like your matchups.
Yeah.
But you went real quick like over Mega Gardevoir, and I know a lot of people are going to ask, how does that matchup go?
Yeah.
Like I know they're gonna be like Garbodor, but then you have a resistance. They only need like what 2 energies to hit, like to even attack. So how does that matchup usually go out?
It's actually kind of a crazy matchup. My loss was to Nick Robinson, he's a Poke Beach writer with me, and just obviously national champion, like good player, right? Yeah. So I lost to him, but they were close, and I beat it twice. So I was like 2-1 versus Mega Gardevoir, which is not bad for a matchup that most Gardevoir players would say is a wash. Like that's not, that's pretty good stats for me, 2-1. So it's not bad. You get out Fright Night early, but if you go second, you don't even have to attach to Fright Night. You just put them out as like disruptive, to be disruptive and try to slow them down. And then You want to get a Fright Knight on the bench too, because especially if they don't start a Gardevoir, they're going to try to escape rope because most of these lists are playing escape rope. So they're going to try an escape rope, right, to get your Fright Knight out of there. And what you want to do is promote the other one. So then you promote the other one, and then they still can't evolve unless they have the Hex Maniac. And let's be honest, if they're playing Hex Maniac, they probably aren't doing much in the ways of attacking or anything else. So it's just a wasted turn either way. So usually Fright Knight can buy a turn. I did have, sometimes if you go first and you get Fright Knight out and you put an energy on it, then you're threatening the Pitch Black Spear, which is really good. I had an opponent start Shaman and bench a Shaman and like couldn't get the Shaman out of the active, so I did 60-60 to both his Shamans, and I had a bench Fright Knight. So then he tries to escape rope out, and he can't because I put my other Fright Knight out, and then has to manually end his turn. And then I retreated that one with a DCE, Lysander up a Shaman, and take 4 prizes like right off the bat. So like at that point, I just have to knock out one more EX, and it's fine. That being said, the matchup can get very hairy very fast if they just like go, especially if they go first. If they're able to escape rope, if you can't get 2 Fright Knights out and they escape rope around it, they can just route you that way. If you can't get Garbodor out, they can route you that way. The major game plan for me is that you want to get out Garbodor and a couple big Yveltal EXs, and you wanna go for like Garbodor, Parallel City, and then hit him with the Yveltal EX, and basically you might Y Cyclone, and then just you're powering up one big one, right? And then you're gonna end and then start knocking them out. Like that's the game plan. Is you're going to end them, knock them out, and then when Garbodor's out, they can't one-shot your Yveltal EX because Garbodor's out, so they're not one-shotting it. So if you, on the other hand, you can one-hit KO a Gardevoir under Garblock, and there were points I had 3 DCE on a Yveltal, like just because that's the game plan. Like you're Y Cycloning and to soften it up, and then you're going to have one turn where you come up and you don't have quite enough to knock one out, but you'll knock one out that you Y Cycloned, right? And while you're also ending. So then if they promote another one and then they hit into that one for like 110, then if you can knock that one out clean, like one-hit KO style, I'm talking just put your last DC on it, like you're just going to knock that dude out, then all of a sudden, and if you can end or something, it's over. They're like, all right, yeah, I don't have my abilities, like I don't have nothing. So like it's a YOLO strategy, but it works because Garbodor really disrupts that deck. So, and Parallel City, if you playing them both. So that's the game plan.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Because you're like, yeah, I just beat Gardevoir, and then I beat Gardevoir, and I lost Gardevoir, and I was like, how does this matchup even go? Like,
right. That matchup was crazy. The Greninja matchup. And Rainbow Road's the other weird one. But that's just basically that matchup, and that matchup plays almost the same. I feel like no matter what deck you're playing, like you try to just beat down their Xerneas until they can't respond with one, and you get out Garb and you end, or you just end them, Parallel City them, end them, just hope they can't whoop up.
I think that matchup's like, do they set up all the way or not kind of thing. Maybe, I don't know. That's what it seems like to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even Parallel City Garb, I keep saying I think that's the best combination in the game right now. In standard format, it's just like if you can limit the bench and put Garbodor out, like most decks can't deal with that.
I agree with that. Like, there's just no way to get tools off right now, and that's the dumb thing about Pokemon right now.
Yeah. So why not play? Hey, if that's the dumb thing, then play a Garbodor deck. Like, I don't know.
Maybe.
It's the best thing in format, man.
We'll see.
It's the best thing in format right now. There's no tool removal. It is the best thing. Parallel City Garbodor is the best thing. Parallel City is an insane card. Dude, Volcanion, you can nerf their damage, you put it one way. You can just delete Volcanion EXs off their bench if you put it the other. It's so good. It's good for Greninja too. Limiting Greninja, that came into play a lot. Limiting Greninja's damage by 20, as well as, just chopping their bench off. Obviously 3 Parallels is really good against Rainbow Road. So
yeah, I agree with that. Now, you talked about Jimmy's list some, and you said that his list was better. What changes would you make to your list to try to make it better?
Okay. I would the Oblivion Wing. Yveltal is like on the chopping block, and we actually had him on the chopping block like the night before the tournament. We were like looking at him. We were like, do we want to play this little guy or do we not need to? Um, and I was like vouching for him. I was like, dude, I'm sure I'll get into some situation where I just want to like put a meat wall up there, and I'm like on the back foot, and I just want to like, or if I'm playing against an energy removal deck, and I just want to power him, there's and I used him. I mean, I used him
Yeah.
really effectively in top four. Like, he did come into play, but he is a removable card. Um, I would play a fourth max elixir was the first thing I would do, and then I would also consider maybe like a team flare grunt. Um, would be my considerations. I'd probably take out the third male to make room for it. You could take out the Oblivion Wing Yveltal to make room for these things. Um, those, or you could take out the third Parallel City. Those are like my three like flex cards. You could take out Olympia. I think Olympia is really good. Obviously, Pokemon Center Lady is amazing too. I wouldn't play without some form of healing, whether it be Olympia or Pokemon Center Lady. Healing was really good. You got to play the enhanced hammers. Those are not an option. Enhanced hammers is the only way.
It's
Enhanced
so
hammers is
good.
the only way. It's so good. It's the only way you win the mirror is just by using enhanced hammers good. Using them well. So like the third parallel, I might take out. The third trainer's mail, I might take out. And the Oblivion Wing Yveltal, I might take out. In the Olympia, if you take that out, I would only put it in for a Pokemon Center Lady. I want to add in Flare Grunt. Austin Vance was talking to me about that, and he top 32'd with a Yveltal Garb deck that played Flare Grunt. And then Flare Grunt, I think, because people are talking about how do you beat Jolteon, right? Because Jolteon's like the next, like people are talking, oh, well, Jolteon's going to be big in London or whatever because everybody's hyping Yveltal, right? So, how do we beat Jolteon? I haven't tested this a ton, but I think Flare Grunt is a card that you could put in that is like a soft counter to Jolteon and actually helps with other things. Unlike where if you put Ranger in your deck, that's a horrible card. Like that will be a horrible card in almost all your matchups, except for when you're facing against a Jolteon.
I agree.
Whereas Flare Grunt, you can enhanced hammer it and Flare Grunt it, and then now all of a sudden, so if you're playing against that weird Pidgeot deck that I saw you did a deck, I saw you did a video profile on, which people are talking about that deck because it's a deck that puts Jolteon into play, and I think Vileplume Toolbox is like a bad deck. Jeremiah said it was a bad deck. I mean, after I played it, he beat me and then like lost out. Like, I mean, and like and my guy I played in the winning, and he should have beat me too. He didn't do nothing. I mean, he didn't even set up Vileplume. That deck was just horrible. Just like it's just a box. It's a box of random stuff, and it just doesn't. There's almost no synergy to it. I mean, when it works, but your bench is very tight. I mean, you with the shamans and everything, it's weird. So I think that deck's bad. People won't be hopping on Vileplume Toolbox. So people are looking for a Jolteon deck that they can play, but there's just not a lot of options right now. You could play Jolteon Electrode, or with Raikou, but that deck's bad too. Saying it right now. That deck's bad.
I agree.
Kevin.
I would agree.
You put Garbodor, even a Yveltal deck could beat that deck. You get Garbodor out and then like enhanced hammer the Electrodes. They're still having a hard time. So I think enhanced hammer and flare gun could be really good. So if they do get a Jolteon, most of the time it's going to be with some sort of special energy, be it an Electrode or a DCE, right? Those are like the two ways to get Jolteon into play. Two reasonable ways to get Jolteon into play. And like you already have the enhanced hammers, and I think a flare grunt would just do the extra. Like now we have an option to like reuse our energy removal. You can slow the Jolteon down and potentially beat it that way. And I think flare grunt would be really good in the Yveltal mirror because if someone like Y Cyclones, then like the DCE away, and then like leaves just a darkness on their front Yveltal, which they do all the time. This happens constantly, right? And then you flare grunt the dark off, and now they're screwed. They got a Fury belted Yveltal in the active with no energy, and they're like, oh my god, So that's what I would do. I would try to put a flare gun on my list and a fourth max elixir. Those are the important cards.
Sounds good. So, how many championship points are you at right now?
I'm at 170. I attended one league challenge before I got points from one league challenge, so I got a top 4. I went to Philly regionals, and that just didn't buff out for me. So this is only my 3rd tournament of the year. So feeling pretty good. Going forward with this, like I was waiting to see if a regional would buff out, and if it did, that was going to be the determining factor whether or not I go for an invite. So now I'm pretty in play for an invite potentially. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. Are you gonna go? I mean, I assume you're not going to London, right?
Not going to London. No.
All right. Get Dallas.
We're thinking about it. Like I don't think I'll be able to make it. It's New Year's. Like I don't know. That's like my only time off and to see my family. So like I definitely want to go see my family in Baltimore. But then if we don't go to Dallas, then like I'm kind of out of a regional until March or something.
What about Athens?
Georgia? Oh my gosh! I was gonna go to Athens, but then I have concert tickets booked for Athens. Like literally, I had like bought Kirsten a Christmas gift, and it was tickets to this concert that is on Athens regional. It's in Cleveland. Yeah, so like
I understand your pain.
So we're thinking about it. So I'm thinking about Texas. But it might not even be necessary. I have like 5 regionals I can go to in the spring side of the year, and there are going to actually be league cups in the Ohio area in January. So like I could just, apparently there will be league cups. I could just go to like the 3 or 4 league cups that are announced in Ohio, for January, and just have that be like my league cup time. Try to scoop up like close to 100 points at some league cups. That puts me like close to 300. Then all I have to do is, I don't know, really tear up some more regionals, I guess, like a couple more. So, and then there's the U.S. internationals. Actually, Brazil is like, if Brazil gets announced, we might look into that as an option. But then if it's either that or Texas. Like if we don't do Texas, then we'll consider Brazil. If Brazil gets announced.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hate that the season's like this right now, that there's so much like up in the air that
I understand. I mean, we could have a special event as well, so
and there might be a special event. So I'm too stressed about it. I don't want to just go and blow all the money that I just earned by like overextending myself to get to a regional. To me, it's like the season right now, as it is less about an invite. Like the way that they've made regionals such a big money tournament that it doesn't really matter for me. So you'd have to top 16, or you'd have to like top 16 or top 32 worlds to get the same amount of money that I just got from regional. I don't know. I mean, with how much have they upped the world's money by a lot?
Not that I know of.
When I top 16, when I got 9th, it was 2,500, which is the same as I just got for a 2nd place. So it's like, to me, my season's already in the plus. Let's just like, let's just keep it that way. I'm not gonna blow all my cash trying to like, overextend myself. Like, let's just do good at the things that I can go to and see how it goes.
I understand that. Well, Andrew, do you want to give any shout outs to anybody before we head out?
Yeah. Shout out to Justin Buchter and Advan and JW, and Natalie, and Kirsten, who were in my room. And those guys kind of put up with me testing and hopping trains from Scizor to Mega Ray to Yveltal, and they were with me the whole way, so it was awesome. And they spent, the whole freaking 9 hours testing with me in the room the day before the tournament, so that was an awesome time. Thanks to those guys, and and shout out to Jimmy for our finals, and Chris DeRozier for an awesome top 4 match and an awesome top 4 performance. So.
Now, are you gonna write an article about your experience on Poke Beach?
I am. It's in the works. I've been working on it, so about halfway through that. Going to be talking about not only my tournament experience, which you guys got to hear a lot about here, but also going to be talking about kind of just the life of a competitive person, and how do you balance things like work and school and competitive Pokemon, which I'm doing all 3 right now. Like I'm going to graduate school, and I'm competing, and I'm working full time as a teacher, and it's kind of crazy because I barely have time to take care of myself, but we're still doing it. So like, there's definitely some techniques and strategies to go into that, and then also just like how you pick a deck for a tournament. I'm going to be talking about that as well, just to try and differentiate my article from Jimmy's, because obviously Jimmy's just going to be like talking about his deck.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny finishing second at regionals with like Yveltal, Garb, because like nobody cares about my list, obviously, or the list that I played with is mostly Azul's list, but nobody cares about that because everybody's like messaging Jimmy. So it's kind of nice, I don't have to worry about all that,
You don't get all the pressure.
No, Jimmy's got it. Yeah, everybody just look at Jimmy's list.
All right, guys, and if you don't know, I'll leave a link down to Poke Beach stuff as well. I don't know. Do you have like an author section on Poke Beach? Like, is it like Poke Beach / Andrew Mahone or something? Or
I don't think so. You can link to my latest article though.
Okay, I did that for sure.
One right before regionals, actually talking about Parallel City and how it's the best card in format. So,
which we can tell that you love.
Totally, and I was just saying. I mean, I was right. So.
All right, man. Well, congrats once again on getting second, and thank you for doing the interview. I really do appreciate it. All right, and guys, hope you enjoyed this. Oh,
thank you.
No, man, no problem. And guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something new about Yveltal Garbodor. Make sure you check out Andrew's article down below. Alrighty, bye.
Alright guys, I just want to give a quick shout out to our 3 sponsors, 60 Cards, Yeti Gaming, and the Pokemon Company International. Links to everything will be down below in the description. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Alrighty.